Okay, peace, people. Right, so we've been going down the tree, right? We have been looking at the various deities and how they are regarded where it concerns relationship. Alright, and okay, so now we arrive at Sebek. Okay, Sebek. Sebek is one of the relationship significators, right? Why? Right? Okay, well, Sebek deals with the realm of intelligence, right? The thoughts, the thinker within us, the intelligence within us, right? So, what this is saying is that Sebek is a significator for relationships because relationships depends very keenly on communication between the parties. Right? Where there's no communication, there is no happy relationship, right? And you guys know that from experience. Anytime, you needed more in terms of communication and it wasn't given, you were unhappy, etc., etc. So this is saying that communication, the ability to communicate clearly with each other is going to be a key, right? Has to do a lot with the intelligence, right? The sphere of intelligence, right? So, it's saying that you see a Sebek in your relationship, right? You're going to be geared towards communicating, making sure that y'all have that together, right? Then other aspects of Sebek Sebek is also a Sahu realm, right? It's the eighth sphere is still in the Sahu. So the motivations at the Sahu largely are going to be worldly, if you are someone who is focused in high spiritual pursuit, right? You want to fix things, correct things about your being. You want to raise into your divinity, things like that. Then, you're going to see the Sebek reading and you are going to assess it based on the level of intelligence that's being presented. This is not a circumstance, say if it's readiness or something like that, right? You're going to be looking towards someone who has a level of intelligence, or you should be, right? You should be. You see a Sebek reading, don't get nobody who don't know how to communicate, don't get nobody who, doesn't have a clear, concentrated ability to focus, right? Intelligence, right? Focus is not quite intelligence, but it partially is, right? Right? But you want someone who's intelligent. You see a Sebek on the table, right? Because there's a certain level of intellectual that you are, right? And so, that Sebek is saying that you need to be able to communicate with somebody. Probably the type of person that, gets, aroused at the intellect on some level, right? You need to have a conversation after y'all do it, or before y'all do it. You do it with somebody and then realize y'all ain't got much to talk about. You're probably the type of person with the Sebek to, not really appreciate that too much. Kind of, you'll probably be like, okay. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be more stimulated by a highly intellectual back and forth with your partner. Right, so, say you get a relationship reading, how we fare, you see Sebek. This is saying that you guys are going to be talking it up. Y'all going to be chit-chatting. And y'all going to have a great communication. Right? Y'all going to have a great communication. And if that's not the case, then this is saying to invoke your Sebek faculty and put this on the case. Right? Remember, these readings again are prescriptions. Right, so, many times the reading is going to point to what's not there and say, well, this is what success is going to depend upon. And then it's your job to go to your understanding of invocation, right? How do you bring these things forth from within? Right, see, we're not worshiping deities, right? Let's get that straight, because many people No more this thing, right? It's not about deity worship, ancestor worship, and things like that. No, 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 no. Let's try and have some compassions with our ancients, right? Our ancient, our ancient, people, right? Our ancient traditions, right, are very high, right? And we need to be able to understand them and not just take them from the white man who doesn't have a strong care for us. You know what I'm saying? Or didn't when they reported, what these traditions were. Okay, so let's correct that. All right, it's not a thing that the ancient Egyptians, that the quote unquote pagans worldwide, right, are worshiping extra spirits and things like that. No, it's not what they're doing. They are acknowledging the vastness of what spirit is, right? The vastness of what God is. It's an understanding of a singular duality, right? There is one single spirit that governs all of this stuff, but that spirit has broken itself down in order to do the work of creation, right? In order to, exist as creation, that one creator needed to divide itself, right? So the gods one became the gods many, okay? So that's how we get gods, right? It's not about, they worship many gods. No, put some more intelligence on that, put some more compassion on that, have a try and better understand what that is, right? Look at how things developed, and you can clearly understand that, the people who told you the story weren't very respectful of the people who they were talking about, okay? Now, when we do that, right, when you connect with the spirit yourself, then you really understand, right? But you can, if you look at it, you can understand what we're talking about, right? Nebuchadnezzar is the Lord of all, but there are, many, lesser divisions of that were put on to do things, okay? So I don't know why I just ran into that. Well, I think I do, because, I've been kind of getting that as I've been, looking at what people understand regarding, this quote unquote thing about pagan worship, right? Anything that's not Jesus and not Allah is pagan, right? Pretty much, and not Judaism, right? That's pagan. So everything is not that is pagan. So what you're saying is anything that's not new religion, because these three religions came long after pagan was on go. So if you would ask me, I would say pagan is more close to the truth than these religions that came about 2,000 years ago. Right? We look at the whole. We don't just, don't just come up in a point in history and decide that, okay, now at this particular point, that's when people started dealing with the truth. And before that, they was dealing with falsehood. Nah, that's you have to be more critical looking at things. Okay, so Sebek, again, is Sebek is going to bring the clarity, so this is what you have to do. Relationships are all about communication. And where, that shuts down on one side, then it threatens the harmony of the thing, right? The relationship. Okay, so yeah, this isn't too long, it's not going to be a long one, this is pretty much straight to the point. Sebek is all about communication, right? It's all about, putting, being clever enough, right, to figure out what's next, right? You have to do that in relationships. We have to have a certain amount of Sebek to it, right? We gotta, you can't just be boring. You gotta come in, you gotta spice it up with your conversation, you gotta you gotta kind of add some flavor to whatever the endeavor is in order for it to be interesting. And then when you invoke your Sebek, when you get into your Sebek, then Sebek is going to reveal that for you, right? Yeah, I think I went into that whole thing about the history and religions because I'm trying to make you understand the difference between worshiping and, invoking something. Or let me complete it. Between worshiping something that is outside of the self, right, and invoking or awakening something that is within the self. Okay, so I'm saying all of this to say that when you see Sebek, you have to invoke Sebek, right? When you see Sebek, you have to turn on that faculty within you, in order to have success. And that's with all of the readings. With all of the readings, you're going to be able to have to invoke these things. These things are all within you. You have Heru within you. You have Heru Tehuti within you. Seker is in there. Heru is in there. Some of y'all don't know this though. Even you have all of these spirits inside of you, right? All of these levels inside of you is what you have. All of these spheres to your being is what you have. So life lived correctly is really about understanding what's in here. Come to an understanding of what this is, right? And deal with it accordingly. All right. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there, right? Make sure you getting your Sebek, mantra CDs and things like that. I think you can connect with Tawi through Soundwise, right? Is what I hear about the situation, right? Soundwise, the Soundwise app, I believe you put in Comedic Legacy and then you're able to access the various mantra CDs and some lectures as well. Definitely take advantage of that stuff. If you're here, looking for this Metu Neter information, definitely take advantage of that, right? I'm just a disciple, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? A lot of this information came long before me, you know what I mean? Shekem Shekem, Raul Nefamen has done a great job with, remembering this stuff, right? And, putting it out there so that it's clear and we can have access to it. So yeah, I definitely, honor that brother. You know what I'm saying? Thank him much. I talk to Tehuti on everything, and I'm honest. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna leave this there and say peace and love, and we're gonna see y'all at Oset.